Hey y'all, this is Tabor Warren with Tabor Warren Photography, and I just want to give you guys just a little bit of information on a company that has been a huge asset to our business, and that is 17 Hats. This is not any kind of paid endorsement or anything like that. This is just truly, I'm wanting to help out those who might be in a situation that I was in years ago. And one of the things that I found was that our business was growing, which was fantastic. But I also noticed that as our business grew, so did the time that it took me to help everyone else in terms of managing our invoices, managing our accounting, managing our contracts, managing questionnaires, everything. There was a lot to it that I was having to take on. I remember back, oh goodness, this was back in 2015. And that's really whenever our business started to take off. It was 2015, 2016. And over the winter, then we had, at the time, we were shooting about 50, 60 weddings and tons of portrait shoots as well. I'm not even sure how many portrait shoots, but a lot. And one of the things that I noticed was that every time we had an event, every time that we had a corporate event or a wedding or a portrait shoot, then I had to print out a new contract, and then I would, write it in, write in all the details that I knew about, and then I would scan it, upload it, send it to my client. They would print it out, sign everything, fill in what they needed to, scan it, upload it, send it to me, and then I would print it out, and then I would sign it, scan it, upload it, send it back to them. And it just took a huge amount of time. And that was just on the contract aspect. I remember with invoicing, I would send them an invoice, and I remember back then whenever I would do invoicing, then we had it all set up through Square, which I also love Square as well. And so we had everything set up through them. And one of the things that I noticed was that we would send out that Square invoice. It was just kind of we'd send it out and just cross our fingers and hope that we got paid on time. A lot of the times we did get paid on time, and that was nice. But a lot of the times we did not get paid on time. And then, so whenever that came up, then I'd have to get over on the computer, start typing in an email saying, hey guys, this is just a friendly reminder that your invoice is past due. Please take care of that as soon as you can. And then another week would go by, and then 2 weeks. We had one client who was about 6 months past due in terms of when their invoice was actually supposed to be paid. And the only thing that I could do was just keep sending them emails saying, hey, you need to pay your invoice so that I can send over your photos. It was quite the nightmare. But also there were other things where we would have meetings with all of our clients, which was great. And then I would want to send them, a little bit of questionnaire. And there were some that I could tie into the contract. So I could get like their Facebook account or their Instagram or whatever it was. But a lot of the times there were other questions that I wanted to know that they didn't know whenever it came time to sign the contract. So they didn't know who their caterers were. A lot of the times they didn't have hair and makeup lined out. They might not have even had a DJ for their wedding yet. And so there were a lot of things that were still unknown. And unless I remembered to follow up with them at the wedding, which was not ideal, or immediately after the wedding, which they're on their honeymoon, then a lot of the times I wouldn't be able to have this information to get our photos to the right people, because we also do a lot of vendor sharing as well. So we want all the vendors that we work with, we want them to have photos because they have a big impact on the wedding day and also with our business as well. And so there was a lot that was just on myself and my wife in terms of all of our client relations that we needed to find a solution for. Whenever I initially looked into 17 Hats, then one of the things that I noticed was that as a small business owner, then jumping into something, especially something that I was not really that familiar with, it's a big hurdle that I had to get over. And I remember especially whenever it came to buying into the system itself. I mean, I did the 30-day trial, but then after that, I mean, really actually buying into it and investing time into it. Then one of my concerns was that I'm going to spend just as much, if not more time setting it up than I would actually save on over the course of the year. And what ultimately did it for me was I sat down and I looked at our last, I think it was our last year, and I counted out how many weddings we had photographed, how many corporate events we had photographed, how many portraits we had photographed, and for each of those, and then I looked at how many invoice emails we had sent out, how many contracts we had sent back and forth, and I had already started calculating how much time, and I figured out that it took me about 30 to 45 minutes per client in terms of just the monotonous interactions that we had. And so after I figured out, even at 30 minutes and even at 40 clients, that's 20 hours of just sending contracts back and forth. And so I knew that I needed to, if I could find a way to automate a contract and have a template that I had to send, then that would save me 20 hours in that 1 year with those 40 clients alone. But we also had a couple hundred portrait shoots that we were also taking care of. And so between all of those, then I'm saving 40, 60, 80 hours just in contracts. And then when I realized that I could also tie in the invoicing as well, then it was a game changer. I can now have a system set in place so that I can send them with one click. I can send somebody a quote that they can choose which options they're wanting. They can add to the package because there might be things that they decide that they did want after I had sent them the quote. It generates an invoice automatically. It has their retainer payment options in there automatically. It sends out the emails automatically and gives them the contract again automatically. And then after they type everything in and send it to me, it's one button, and then that one button verifies both of us that this contract is signed, everything is done. Whenever the invoice is coming up for payment, then they get an email. I don't have to mess with that reminder email at all anymore, which I'm very grateful for. And everything is very automated. I will mention one of the little caveats is that 17 Hats is very much like a shovel. And I use that analogy with the program a lot when I'm talking to other people about it. And what I mean by that is that the more you put into the program, the more you'll get out of the program. And so since I've really started diving into things like workflows and life cycles, then those have been the next step in elevating our business to make it that much more efficient. We are now, running on a slow year, 40 clients, on an upper year, 75, 80, wedding clients. The number of the corporate events that we're doing has increased. Our portrait shoots has increased. Everything's gone up, but my time has been so much more free because I started investing into this system. And now that they've announced newer items such as appointments, then that has been another thing that I've been able to really take off my plate in terms of I can now send all of our clients, again, automatically. I can send them all a nice tailored email that lets them know that, hey, we're excited to shoot your wedding coming up in a month. Thank you for, taking care of the questionnaire. And here's a link for you to go ahead and schedule your photo day to come in and look at your photos. And we can talk about albums. We can talk about different print products that we have as well. And so our clients can go in and they can schedule their own photo day, and they can do that before the wedding even starts. We just tell them, when it's available. And so they click the link, and then it sends them a reminder email the day before, as well as how we have our setup. It gives them all of the address information, all the details in terms of how to find our studio exactly. It gives them all of my information in case they have any questions. And all of these are steps that I used to have to do constantly. And now everything is just done, just automatically. So if there was anything that I was to say in terms of the next step in growing a business, and I understand it's not going to be a program that fits the mold for everyone, but if your business is in the process of growing, one of the things that I can strongly recommend is that before it gets too large, that it is consuming all of your time, then start investing into little steps like 17 Hats to figure out ways that you can really manage your time and that you can really give a better, more efficient experience for your clients that's more professional and more tailored to your business itself. So just begin. I would start with things. I would assess what is your biggest headache, whether it be invoicing, whether it be appointments, whether it be the contracts, the quotes, the questionnaires. What is the biggest headache that you're facing in your business? And see if 17 Hats is going to be a good fit for you. If there's one thing, maybe you guys can figure out a way to make it more efficient. If there are two, jump on board with 17 Hats, because it is so worth your while in terms of getting your time back. How much more valuable is your time than just sitting down, sending contracts and invoices? There are a lot more things that you guys can be doing, a lot more marketing opportunities for you all. And ultimately, it's up to you to find the best method for your business, which I believe could very well be 17 Hats. So thank you all. If you have any questions, feel free to email me directly, tabor@photosbytabor.com. You can find me on Instagram, Tabor Warren Photography, Facebook, Tabor Warren Photography. I'm also on Twitter. I'm all over the place. So feel free, reach out because I will have time to respond to you thanks to 17 Hats. So thank you all again. See you.